9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another Freethought in Florida. Freethought in Florida is a production of the Atheist community of Polk County. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. My name is Sarah Ray. I am your host for Freethought in Florida, and I'm one of the directors of the Atheist community of Polk County. This is Friday, September 25th, 2020. And just a quick reminder up top, you can become a patron at patreon.com/polkatheists, which is another great way to support the atheist community of Polk County and the production of this show. I've got a very special guest with me today. I'm joined by Australian singer and songwriter Shelley Segal, perhaps best known around atheist circles for her song Saved, which is also the theme song for the Atheist Experience. Shelley, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So first things first, you're out on the West Coast where everything is literally on fire. How are you? How are you? How's that going?
I'm doing well. Thanks. I'm okay. You know, we did have some smoke in LA, but it wasn't, as bad as the rest of the state. So, just feeling for everyone that's been displaced and lost their homes. But me personally, I'm doing okay.
All right. Well, I feel like we start every episode this way. This is the 2020 show intro, but in addition to the world literally being on fire, we're also still in the middle of a global pandemic, despite Florida's governor today just moved us to phase 3. I don't know if you saw this news. That lifts restrictions on restaurants, shops, and bars for capacity.
Wow.
That's one of today's headline stories. Here's another. The Florida Department of Health says the number of known cases of COVID-19 in Florida rose by 2,847 Friday.
Wow.
According to the state's daily update, total number of cases is now 695,887 in Florida, and the number of deaths in Florida has reached 13,915, which is an increase of 120 from Thursday to Friday. But phase 3, push ahead. Let's just go back to normal, I guess.
That's terrible.
It's insane. Otherwise, have you, your friends, your family, people that you're around, have people been affected during, by the pandemic?
I mean, I think everybody, definitely, I myself, I can't tour. I can't participate in any live performances. I have a friend who's had the virus, but he was okay. People have been sick, but everybody's recovered. And I think everyone's just really affected by, the restrictions on their ability to work. My family and close friends are all in Australia, who have very, very, very strict lockdown rules. So it's not anywhere like it is in Florida. I mean, they can't leave there.
Seriously?
Yeah, they took it seriously. I mean, but people are upset about it too. People are protesting and pushing back. People don't like it, but I think the majority, of at least the people in my circles are happy to do it. But their restrictions are quite crazy. Like when it's crazy, they're extreme compared to here. I'll say it. And people can't go further than 3 miles from their house. They're only allowed to see one other person at a time, and there's quite hefty fines for anyone that breaks the rules.
Sure.
But they're keeping it under control. They've got the numbers coming right down.
Yeah.
So good on them.
For sure. Well, your music, and we're going to talk about, we're going to hear some of it here during the show. You write a lot about social issues. So there's definitely a lot of writer's fuel in all of the things that have been happening in the world in the past, I don't know, year or 4. But like you said, you can't tour, you can't really perform locally even. And as someone who has performed before, I don't have time for that anymore. But that the inability to connect those ideas in front of a live audience, that's where it's at, really.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that and how you're sort of maybe trying to overcome that and still be able to reach folks.
I mean, that it's been quite difficult, and I miss that. I have been doing a couple of live stream performances, which has been really fun on this platform called Playfi, and they have it's set up like a little digital theater, and people can post little pictures of themselves, and then you can see all the audience guests lined out in seats, and it's like a
that's
little
cool.
stage. And there's an applause button, and so you can hear that applause. That was the strangest thing, I think, when I first started doing it. It's because you're used to that feedback and that engagement from the audience, right? So when you're standing in front of nobody and you finish a song and you're like, and then nothing happens. There's just really an awkward moment where you're like, thank you. And then you just got to keep going. So yeah, I feel like you have to bring a lot of energy because you're yourself, because you're not getting any back from the crowd. But I'm adjusting to that, and Playfi actually helps with that a lot because they have that applause button and you can actually hear the applause, which is cool. But yeah, I guess in terms of definitely my personal creative output has gone down, I feel, but I think that's just because we're still in the middle of everything. I think sometimes I need time for things to consolidate and brew, before they're ready to come out, and they be brown enough. And one thing I've been doing, sort of keep in touch with folks and keep, being creative, is I do live stream every second Saturday. So I've got one tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, LA time, 1 p.m. So I do a live stream songwriting session. So usually maybe 80, 90 folks throughout the session will come, and we write a song together in real time. We take 90 minutes, and I talk to everyone about, what are you guys going through? I've been doing this quite a while now, and it's just beautiful. It's really therapeutic. Sometimes in the morning I feel like, I've got to, get ready to let people into my house. And it's sometimes I feel a bit not excited about it, but then as soon as I start, I'm just like, wow, I love it, and I feel energized for the rest of the day. It's just the best feeling, and getting to share that creative process with folks, and then giving them a chance to be part of it, and they share their words and their ideas and which melodies they like and what they're going through. And it's like I call it unqualified music therapy. I'm not qualified to be a music therapist, but that's what it feels like, and it's really special.
That's really cool. I'm thinking for myself, lyrics were always the impossible part for me. I think I've written one song that I would let you hear. Well, of all the things I've ever written and recorded, there's one that might make it into daylight. But it's always because I write and then I look back at it and I go, that's garbage. And then
no, see, you everybody does that, even the best people in the world. So you just got to give yourself that space to finish it, and just not be your worst enemy. Don't be the mean voice in the back of your head. There's plenty of mean people out there. You don't need to be the mean one, But yeah, so I've been doing that. I've also been you guys have a Patreon. I have one as well, and I've been I share all the songs with my Patreons and demos, new songs that I'm making. I got a single coming out next month that I'm really excited about, that I'm just producing at home because that's what we got to do now. Yep. So just adjusting, and then on top of that, I also do a lot of ghostwriting and session work. So I've moved that online, and so I still get to be writing a lot with a purpose and for different artists around the world, and that's been really fun. I've been really enjoying that.
I think the idea of crowdsourcing lyric writing is genius. Anyway, so talk a little bit more about your songwriting process. Then these lyric heavy songs. What are some of those topics that you've addressed, and where do you pull that inspiration from? How does that all work for you in your head?
It's pretty different every time. But for those kinds of more heavy songs, usually it's something that's building up in me, and it's something that I've been angry about or feeling really strongly about for a long time, and then something will happen, like some moment or sentence or some word or on the news, just something that sets it off, and it shows me the whole. It shows me the whole thing as a story, as like this moment, this feeling, this sentence. This is like how it ties all of those elements together, and then I just pick up my guitar and I start writing, and I try to get it out. And yeah, but sometimes it can take a while to write. Sometimes it comes out really quickly, but often, especially for those heavy songs, it's something that's been building and brewing for a really long time.
Cool. And we'll come back to that when we talk about sort of your journey through religion and how that's all worked out, and because you've written quite a bit about those types of themes as well.
Yeah.
Would you mind playing us a little something?
Sure. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you. So this is a song of mine called My Morality. And it came out of a discussion that I have with people quite often, especially when I was first, started talking about atheism or secularism or leaving my tradition. And it's something that people commonly ask. They say, oh, well, how do you know how to be a good person without God? And to me, this is like a 4-minute uninterrupted opinion. People are way more likely to listen to a song than they are to listen to you talk for 4 minutes about your point. So this is my answer to that question on how I know how to be a good person without a God. This one is my morality. My morality is nothing to do with these Bible or the verses of the Quran. My morality won't judge you by your spirituality, but by the things that you have done. My morality is not set into stone tablets. Don't even tell you not to hurt children. My morality is not dictated by a deity. It's developed from empathy, dependence, and love. My morality accepts everybody's sexuality, is more concerned with inequality and validation from above. My morality is not set into stone tablets. Don't even tell you that it's worthwhile to be good. For being good's own sake, and not to think for yourself can be a deadly mistake. My morality is not recitable from memory. It's something inside of me, how I wanna be. Treat others how I want them to treat me. It's basically not to hurt anybody, never pours any brutality. It stems from our common humanity. That's what my grandmother taught me. It's mine because I am free.
Wonderful. I will apologize to anybody who's listening on the live stream. We had a bit of a an echo there, but I think I've got it solved. And it'll be fixed in post, so if you're watching this now, then you won't even notice. So good. And I love that, like, we were talking about sort of how this all translates in this online, weird, digital whatever. As a bit of a Shelley Segal fangirl right now, like, this is like a private concert in your house. Like, this is fantastic. And I'll just pretend... I'll pretend that the YouTube people and the Facebook people aren't even here. One more musical topic maybe before we move on, and I'm sure we'll only brush the surface because this could be a whole other episode. The music industry.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, we've gone from AM/FM, vinyl, 8-track to cassettes and CDs, and now everything is digital, right? So... And home recording is a lot more accessible to a lot more people. The whole thing has just evolved in such a short time. What are your thoughts on all of that? Because there's certainly a lot of impact to the musician.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's democratized the industry. I think tools and the ability to learn how to use those tools is accessible in a way they've never been before. And, you know, back in the day, there's still gatekeepers, and the industry has found its way, you know, after every disruption to come back and put some more gatekeepers that you need to pay to get through. But in general, like, you know, in the past, if a band or artist wanted to release music, they'd have to, you know, it was only record companies that could take your music to another country, that could get your music, like, you know, directly to the consumer. From around the world. But now you have a global audience from your bedroom. Well, it's my dining corner of my house. And that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I wrote a song for someone in Uzbekistan the other day. I am singing to you now in Florida. I get messages from Saudi Arabia left on my answering machine on my website. Like, it's an incredible time to be an artist, and the way that you can connect with your fans and what you can provide. I think that's something that's really new and exciting for me. And it's something for me, like, I've always wondered how I would, you know, I guess what my place would be as an artist, because I don't, you know, I'm not really embracing a lot of the musical technology. Like, I don't use loop pedals and a lot of effects. Like, I'm pretty old school. Like, it's just me and my guitar on my back, or, you know, under my arm, and off I go. And so for me, you know, I always wondered, like, how can I engage as an artist in a different and unique way? And for me, like, being able to, you know, like the live stream songwriting that I was saying, like, that I can be there for people directly, maybe when they're having a shit day, and share the experience of creating with them in real time, make them feel better when they're, it's like, to me, that's amazing. I'm so grateful to be an artist at this time.
I can remember, like, God, it would have been 1996 or 7. I was just, like, almost out of high school, and I had this old giant 8-channel PV mixer that I figured out how to hook up to my computer and, like, record shit in my garage, right? And that was the coolest thing. And then this was back in my Jesus phase too. Like most people, I don't think anybody's heard this story. I was doing when my shelf broke. I was doing Bible study one-on-one with a youth pastor at a Church of God, and he and I actually wrote, like, a praise and worship song together, and I'd forgotten about it until just this minute. Except that back in the day, so we did our, you know, shitty garage recording of it or whatever, and then I was in some forum and just posted it, and some nice other musician somewhere on the other side of the world, I don't even remember where they were from now, but, like, downloaded my track and did some edits and cleaned it up and, like, laid a 12-string behind it, and that was so cool. That's the kind of collaboration I think is really cool. And I know that there are websites now that are sort of devoted to, like, helping musicians find each other to work together remotely like that. And I think that's so cool.
That's beautiful. That's so nice. Can you sing us a second of that song?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal. You play this little game that I've created for you, and I will sing you a little bit of this song.
Okay.
So before the show, I asked you what are some things that you're interested in outside of atheism, and you said table tennis.
Yeah.
For the first and possibly last time, let's play a game that this time we're calling How Well Do You Know Your Table Tennis?
Pretty poorly.
Look, no pressure. If this is a miserable failure, we'll never do it again.
Okay. It sounds fun. I'm in.
So here's how we play the game. I will ask you 10 questions. They are all 100% absolutely about table tennis. We'll just try to rapid fire through them. However many you get right is your score, but it's more comedy than game, so who cares? And if you can't,
I'm here to win.
And if you can't be correct, you can always be funny.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And remember, all of these questions are definitely about table tennis. Here we go.
I'm impressed with your. Yeah, I'm gonna hear how far down
wait until
the table tennis ball hole you have gone.
I won't ask you about the dimensions of the table, though I did look that up. Okay, here we go. Question 1.
Okay.
Table tennis is the generic name for the popular copyrighted name what?
Ping pong.
Very good. Question 2. In what country did table tennis originate? It was the 1880s.
Sweden or Korea?
No, England. England in the 1880s. Question 3. It was popular among the nobles. It was the elite that played the game.
Oh, I didn't know.
The rights to the name ping pong were sold to which popular American toy and game manufacturer? This one might be tough. Ooh, nope. Parker Brothers. Question 4. What score does a player have to achieve to win the game?
21. Oh, 11 now. They've changed it.
Or 11 or
11 or 2 above.
Yeah, there you go. If the score is 10-10, the player has to get a 2-point advantage. You're doing great. Question 5. According to international rules, what is the diameter of a table tennis ball?
5 millimeters.
40 millimeters.
Oh, the diameter.
5 millimeters, yeah. Oh, now we're got to do math. Mm-hmm. Prior to the 2000 Summer Olympics, it was a 38 millimeter ball.
Yes, I remember I used to play, and during they did a transition period, and so I trained. I trained with my state squad. I was on the nationals. I played the nationals in table tennis in Australia. I was like a ranked junior player.
Holy cow!
And I used to play 5 times a week, and I had my whole technique. And then when they switched the size of the balls, which they made them bigger for television, so that you could see.
Is that why? Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, and I mean it's very popular in China. It's like one of the major sports. So suddenly I had to adjust and relearn my whole game, because like my whole technique and swing is based on the size of the ball, and suddenly it's whole different. So it was cool. It was like a bit of a leveler, all these people that you had people that you couldn't beat, but then everything changed and like you had another chance you could beat them. It was really cool. It was a crazy time in the table tennis world.
Okay, question 6. Racket, bat, or paddle?
It is a bat.
It is. It is all 3, technically. Racket internationally, bat in Britain, and paddle in the U.S. Question 7. What's 8 times 9?
8 times 9 is 54.
72.
72. Oh my God.
Question 8. Table tennis competition has been in the Summer Olympic Games since 1988, with singles and doubles events for men and women. Athletes from China have dominated the sport, winning a total of 53 medals, including 28 out of a possible 32 gold. Where did the 2000 Summer Olympic Games take place?
In Melbourne.
Yeah, Sydney, close.
Oh my God. My friends say Melbourne was like, when was Melbourne? Melbourne was like in the 70s. When was Melbourne?
You got close.
Not
I was
really.
going
I'm from Melbourne. That's pretty bad.
Well, you're on the right continent, I guess. I was gonna be really disappointed if you didn't have any clue. Question 9: Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, we can be friends. I mean, no judging, but me too. And finally, question 10: If you could play a match against any person, dead or alive, who would you play and why?
Against anyone. I'm trying to think if I know any like famous people I like that are really into table tennis, but I think it's sort of an undercover passion that people have. It's not well known.
It could be somebody that you just want to completely smoke at the table. It could be somebody that you'd want to have some conversation with over a game. Somebody you want to smack talk real bad.
This is a soppy answer. I miss playing with my dad. We used to play together, and he's at home, and I don't know when I'm going to see him again. But yeah, I'd love to just have a hit with my old man. He's the best.
That's a good answer. No, you get that one. All right.
I can't believe it. My time table's wrong.
Oh my god. I may have stolen some of the material, some of the format of this this game from a show that I love, but anyway, you did great, and that was how well do you know your table tennis with Shelley Segal? Okay, so let's move into then and talk a little bit about your religious journey. Why don't you I never know what to call that, because you don't want to say like journey to atheism, because some people, not us, but some people started there, and I don't know. Anyway, so your religious story.
Well, I was brought up in a Jewish family, in the Jewish tradition. We were sort of moderately observant, and at home, like maybe like a reform or liberal level of observance. But we went to synagogue every week, and the synagogue we went to was an Orthodox synagogue, so that was a lot more strict and a lot more patriarchal. And we practiced gender segregation in the synagogue, so I had to sit upstairs separate from the men, or downstairs with a curtain in front of me. Right? I wanted to be downstairs. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Yeah. And I wasn't, women aren't allowed to sing unaccompanied or be rabbis or, participate in leading the service. So I used to watch my dad and my brother get up and, have that great honor of being called onto the bima, onto the stage to sing with the congregation. And even though I had the best voice out of all of them, I was not allowed. And I also went to a Jewish school since I was in kindergarten. So, I was a very trusting person, and everybody around me gave me this shared narrative, and I had no reason to challenge it or question it or be untrusting. So, for me, I really absorbed it, and I'm a very intense person. So, I took it very seriously, and I actually tried to make my parents more religious at one point. I was like, you guys gave me the book. I read it. It says we have to do this. Why aren't we doing this? And they were just like, and I think that caused a bit of dissonance as well, like quite early on, maybe at like 15, 16, that I didn't understand like how they could believe it and not follow through on it, like, completely. Mm-hmm. So I think it's because I had that knowledge and that care and that interest in it, that when I did start to come up against ideas that challenged my religious worldview and the biblical account of creation that I had accepted, like learning about evolution in biology class. I took biology because I love animals. Like I was like, I love dolphins. I was one of those girls with like the pearl.
Oh yeah.
That loved orcas and wanted to be a marine biologist. That was me. Because you don't need your times tables for biology. Oh, I'm still in pain. But so, like. And I, in my high school, we didn't, because it was a Jewish school, we didn't learn about evolution as part of the general curriculum, but so that they could compete with the rest of the state. Once you got to the higher levels, like the final 2 years of high school, they would teach you the proper curriculum. So in studying biology, that was the first time I learned about evolution. And it was just like, it blew my mind. Like, this makes sense. This is not how I understood. What about Adam and Eve? Like, it just doesn't, it's not the same story. And sort of my brain thinking, I came home, I had to teach my own family about evolution, and they laughed at me. They laughed at me like I was a crazy person. It's like, what do you think? My dad's like, what do you think? Everything just went boom. And I'm like, what do you think? Everything just went boom. And we had a lot of intense discussions. And then, I started seeing a non-Jewish guy, and like, my God that I talked to every day, he was totally down. He was he was a sex positive guy. he was all right, dude. But for my family, that was really hard. It's a very tribalistic. My parents are good people, but they have been brought up in this culture that is very much a tribalistic one. And so my dad told me I had to break up with me. Now I'm remembering this. I'm gonna smash him at table tennis. But my dad told me I had to break up with my partner, which I didn't. I just ended up leaving home at that time. And it was really, really hard. They didn't understand why I was upset, and I couldn't explain it without being really angry and felt like I'd been lied to and had my time wasted. And it was very intense. And I guess also I was really lucky. I got the opportunity to travel when I was younger, and I think seeing so many different worldviews, meeting different people who all had all these completely different ways of seeing the world, and you start to realize the context of your own. That was, for me, amazing experience. Like, okay, I have a way of seeing the world just like everyone else, and mine is equally as deserving of criticism. And I started learning about critical thinking and started reading, some of the new atheist books, and it just, like, I had already stopped believing myself, but there were other beliefs that I hadn't examined, and also just understanding that this wasn't necessarily the force for good that I had grown up believing that it was. And it was an amazing time of discovery, and it was like, I wanted to have good reasons for everything I believed, and for me that was like so important and significant that I started to write songs about what I was going through. And then I ended up writing a whole album about becoming an atheist and the new way that I saw the world, and some of the intense, cool discussions I was having with people. And so that was my first album. It was called An Atheist Album.
There was a viewer question about that, as a matter of fact. When you released an Atheist Album, did you receive any pushback? Did you find it harder to book shows, or in general, how was that received among the people that it was put out to? What kind of audience was it?
Thanks for the question. Hi. It was an interesting time. I think I had a lot of discussions with my family about it. In the end, they were really supportive, which was cool. I had some interesting experiences with press, and one thing that I loved about releasing this album was that I got to take this discussion to music media, which is not saying to happen. People come in and they talk about their approach and their music and their inspiration and all this, and I was just here to have this bring this discourse to music media. And it was cool. Some people really didn't like it. They were like, I remember I got a story in one of the the public transport paper that people read on the train, and it was such a great spot and a big article. But they were like, well, we're not going to just make it about you. I forgot to mention, my father is the president of the synagogue that I went to. So he's the president of an Orthodox synagogue. So they're like, oh, well, we'll talk about you and your father.
Oh my!
Right. So a lot of the press they would only talk about it in that way of here's this religious father and his atheist daughter, and look, they make it work, sort of thing. That was sort of the only way that they would cover it. Other places, I was told no, they wouldn't do interview with me because their listeners wouldn't want to, talk about those issues. But then I had some amazing experiences where, like, a local community radio station, and I jump on the call, like this, and we hadn't spoken before, and they were like, oh, I've had these things before. It's so cool to like really think about this, and like that was super rewarding. And my family was pretty good. I went to one great aunt took me aside and gave me some articles about why I was wrong and all this kind of stuff. But, I get a lot of hatred online and stuff like that, but I think that doesn't matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
Really, mostly just being a human being on the internet that says anything, you're gonna people are gonna hate you. So I think I've been really lucky. I had another interesting experience. My band that I recorded with, I have an amazing band in the UK that I made this album with, and they asked, except for the piano player Bella Chipperfield, who, if anyone should follow her on Instagram, she plays the harp and sings blues. Like she's amazing.
Wow.
But she was the only one that would allow herself to be credited on my album. The rest of the band didn't want to be credited as playing on an Atheist album. They want to be credited for their work because they were scared it would affect their ability to tour. One guy was like, my grandma can't see this, like just to play on the album. And I think they usually agreed with me. And I did have one, I have had a show canceled. This church like petitioned this venue to not have me, and they canceled it. And I had to like find a venue like 4 days before. But in the end, more people ended up coming in solidarity, so stuff that place. So yeah,
that's great.
It's been, it's been interesting.
There's a couple of things you said there that I connect with. The idea of like everybody needs to leave home. Go see something different than home. So I grew up in a town of 1,400 people in the middle of cornfields in Illinois, and so many of the kids that I grew up with are there raising their families now, and it's been that way for generations. Just one family after another, and they just don't leave. They might go to see, they might go to college, but maybe not that far, but to like really get out of the comfort zone and out of your little bubble, and especially in rural America, it's like you just got to get out and see the world. I mean, I grew up in a pretty conservative, not crazy evangelical, but Christian home, and I had all the conservative views that tend to come along with it. And then I moved down here and started working at Disney and in the Orlando bubble. It's just, I mean, any diversity column you can imagine, we're all here working together, having fun. And so when I got to meet people who were different than me, right? I'm from a town where I've heard my family say things like the Mexicans that are coming, across the border illegally to take my job kind of stuff, right? That's my family. Like, how many Mexican people do you know? Like, seriously, come on now. But go meet some people who are different than you and think differently.
That's why.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then the other thing that you said that I love is the idea that, and I know we can't do this in every circumstance, but I like to try to start here, and that is always assume good intent. But like when you're coming out and you're in that angry atheist phase and you're just mad at everything, like at some point we all need to kind of take a deep breath and go like, look, parenting is hard. And I would never have agreed to that until I had kids. Holy crap. Like, let me tell you right now, we don't know what we're doing. And neither did my parents.
I feel bad for my parents because I don't want to have kids. So I probably I appreciate them, and I feel like I really appreciate them, but I know I never will until, and I feel bad for I'm not going to have kids. So you're never going to get that moment from me that's like, you guys,
right? I
am so sorry. I mean, I still do that every once in a while. I'm like, I'm sorry, I was such a shit. But I just, I feel for you. It is hard, and you know what? I gotta give them credit. They did amazing. Like my dad came with me to Washington D.C. and I learned to play music because I used to play in his wedding band. So we've been playing music together since I was 11 years old, like performing live together. And he came with me to the Reason Rally, a huge secular conference rally in Washington, D.C., and he stood up with me on the stage in front of thousands of people, and he accompanied me playing my atheist song. It was so beautiful. I introduced him to the crowd. I said, everyone, this is my father. He's the president of an Orthodox synagogue, and he's here today. And everyone was like, woo! And like backstage, there was one song that was really sort of intense, like Afterlife, and I sing in Hebrew in it. It's pretty blasphemous. I mean, for me, I'm generally quite friendly. But he's like, I don't know if I can play that song. Like, I think that's just a bit too much. I was like, Dad, I'm so proud of you that you're here. Like, don't be silly. Like, you play as little or as much as you like. Like, this is amazing. And then just before I started playing that song, he came in early on the violin to show me, like, I'm here, I'm playing it with you. And I was like, try. So I'm super lucky. So, yeah, sucks for them. I won't have any kids.
They don't get to say, this is how you were. You deserve every minute of this. This is, yeah. Okay, so let's share one more song, and this one we'll play the video for. This is off your new EP, Holy, the song Already Gone. Why don't you set this one up for us?
Sure. I wrote this song the night after I got back to LA from a visit to Melbourne, where I saw all my friends. Confused and sad, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Did I make the right decision to leave everything behind to like follow this crazy life and dream? And it just felt different, and I couldn't sleep. And so I wrote this song that night about that feeling of just missing a place and a time and people that you can't reach, or maybe they're already gone.
Smells different here. I put on a brave face, but I don't like changes. You can't be weak when you have everything
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let me unmute you. So during that song, I was scrambling around trying to find an old lyric sheet or something for this song that the pastor and I wrote once upon a time. And I didn't find it. But what I think I found, and this might be even more damaging, is an old MP3.
Hey.
I'm just going to drop it and hit play, and I don't know what it is. It may be sex noises, but hopefully it's just the music. This is it. I don't remember the lyrics. I feel loneliness. Somehow you bring holiness. There's an angel on my shoulder. Jesus Christ. Someone whispered in my ear. The words oh my God. Listen, I wouldn't do that for anybody but you. And it all came flowing right back too. Like I knew the chords,
That's
but
cool.
God,
Nice.
man, that I'm never gonna live that down. All right, where were we? Now you got me completely off track. Okay, well, we're coming up on an hour here. Let's wind it down. Why don't you go ahead and just we want everybody to find your music and find your live shows and interact and engage with you more. So talk about where we can find you and follow you and all of the good stuff.
Thanks. Well, please come and follow me on all social media. Facebook, I'm on Instagram where I post pretty pictures, and on Twitter where I share the nasty YouTube comments that people send me, or on YouTube where I have my music videos and my live streams every second Saturday, including tomorrow, 1 p.m. PDT. Come and write a song with me. It's fun, it's free, it's a release, it's lovely. What else? I also have a Patreon, as I said, patreon.com/Shelley Segal. I share behind the scenes stuff. I share my demos. I share all the songs that I make on the live stream. And you also get to access my full back catalog. You can find me on Bandcamp, where you can purchase for a digital download any of my whole back catalog. You can get CDs from my website, shelleysegal.com. What else? There's more. You can listen to me on Spotify, on Apple Music, on any digital service provider, digital streaming platform. That's what a DSP is. Also, there's bandtown.com/Shelley Segal, where you can see where I perform live and get a notification when I'm doing my next live show. And I think that's it. I haven't got to TikTok yet. That sounds exhausting.
Oh God, no, I can't. That's I'm too old for TikTok. Look, I think.
I was gonna say, I forgot. I also I'm doing a lot of online songwriting work. So if anyone wants to have a songwriting class or a singing lesson, or to have me write a song with you or for you, that is a service I provide. There's a link to it on my Instagram. So check that out.
I will be joining one of these little fun group writing sessions. And listen, and I'm bringing Angel on a shoulder, and we're gonna make that a big thing. I'm kidding.
Make it. Yes, please. Bring your guitar.
Oh, God. Anyway, well, you're brilliant. We love your music. We love you. And everybody go check out Shelley Segal. Shelley, thanks for coming on the show. Let's do it again sometime, and maybe we can do some fun collaborative praise and worship song together sometime.
I need more.
Oh, my.
Jesus, more.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, everybody. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, if you want to hang on the line, and I'm going to wrap up the show and we can chat a little bit more. Otherwise, you're welcome to drop off. Be respectful of your time. This won't take long. But thank you again, Shelley. We love you. You're so great.
Thanks, guys.
This was wonderful.
Talk to everyone. Bye.
All right. So that is going to do it for this episode of Freethought in Florida. Some reminders for you. You can get us now on YouTube and Facebook video. We tried to do a YouTube stream today, and it just the player, the live feed thing just was garbage and didn't work. You can find us on most podcast players. Search the show in your favorite app and find subscribe links at our website. And as always, you can find more about the ACPC, make a donation, all the things at polkatheists.org, and follow at Polk Atheists on all the social media. And my thanks again to Shelley Segal. We're going to throw the show out tonight with a little angel on my shoulder. I'm totally kidding. I'm not going to make you guys go through that again. So that's it for this week on Freethought in Florida. Check in with us again next time, but remember the 3 most important things. Don't touch anything, wash your hands, and wear your mask. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you on the next Freethought in Florida.